The November roster has been announced, the final roster of this year for the U.S. men's national team as they approach the World Cup year of 2026. Oh, those magic numbers. I hope it remains to be magic as we get to next summer. Time will tell. We certainly feel a little bit more optimistic, I think, after what happened in October with that nice win over Australia, a good result, so to speak, against Ecuador, off the back end result against Japan. So we're feeling better about it. I feel more in Poch we trust than we did a couple months ago, certainly at any point of 2025. Feels like the plan is coming together. We are going to break all the details here of this roster today on the Soccer OG. As always, a reminder to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Big year lying ahead. Would love to share that time with you here, and I appreciate all those who tune in. If you look at this roster, initially you're like, because you knew coming in we were going to be without key players, at least 5, I think, potentially 6 starters in that U.S. men's national team for next summer, not on this roster for a variety of reasons. So there's, it's hard to get excited when you don't see those big names, right? You don't see them. And you look at it, you're like, oh, God, here's some guys that are feeling. Look, we went through that experimental phase in September. I know that. And to a lesser degree in October, after Mauricio Pochettino says we're getting down to brass tacks. Here in November, there might be some experimental feel to it, but it's by necessity. It is by necessity. I don't know who you would bring as we show you the roster. I don't know who you bring into the roster that isn't here, that is not either here on an injured list or needing to get time to spend some time with their clubs, particularly in Europe. So I don't know. I mean, the good news is we're down to maybe 35 guys, 40 guys that can make it. It should be less than that, I know. There's a lot of countries that are locking in with their roster, a lot of countries that are locking in with their starting 11. But here it is. I would say the experimental stage benefits Sean Zawadzki, but in this case, it benefits Gio Reyna and potentially Joe Scally, who both made the roster. I don't want to talk about the goalkeepers. Matt Turner, I think this is his last rites. If he's not on this roster, I don't see him making the World Cup roster. He's not going to be playing games for 4 months. So I think that's it. Yunus Musa not on this roster. That is the one guy, if you're going to be experimental, should be on here. He's not in here. I feel terrible for Yunus Musa, who was a featured player in 2022, was a teenager then, and now being here, still playing for Atalanta. It's a nasty business when you look at how the sausages are made. There's going to be a select few of players that make this roster. Doesn't appear Matt Turner or Yunus Musa are going to be in there. Those are the big two. As we come out, quickly the players that are not here, and I want to talk about them a bit, and then we'll get into the players I feel can certainly benefit from this. Chris Richards, Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Jedi Robinson, Tim Weah, Malik Tillman, Alex Zendejas, all of which should be on the roster. Maybe Zendejas right on the cusp. The other 6 all in contention to start. These are big, big players. A couple other guys on the fringe. I want to start with Christian Pulisic. Obviously, this whole chat that he got the green light from Milan. I don't like it, but I'm not going to sit here and waste so much time on it. We saw Christian Pulisic in October. It didn't go well. He came on, he got injury, he was holding an injury. Christian Pulisic, I am confident that if you flick the switch at the World Cup, he will perform. Maybe not at the peak level if he's not getting games, but I'm not worried about Christian too much. I would love to see him here. He should be here in a perfect circumstance, but he is not. Chris Richards, we're getting more details. Chris Richards has had a very productive 2025. He is a lockdown starter, so obviously I feel confident he can come back. Again, you'd like to have him here, but it is what it is. Malik Tillman just returned from injury, so he is immersing back in with Leverkusen, so that makes sense. Weston McKennie, we heard this from Mauricio Pochettino. New manager Luciano Spalletti there at Juventus, so some time there. It all makes sense. So you can't really look too much into Tim Weah, not in that inner circle of elite players like Richards, Pulisic, McKennie, but certainly a valuable player playing there at Marseille. And so, again, we don't have a lot of games left for the World Cup. Those guys know what's what. You just got to deal with it. And again, you take this with a grain of salt. This roster, because you're going to be missing these key players, but you move on. I want to get to Jedi Robinson because I think it's time to really worry. His knee injury, he had a microfracture injury. I got this information from Brian Charetta, who is great on covering the U.S. men's national team. And every week it goes on and on and on, not playing for Fulham or anything. So he is an immensely important player for us. We don't have cover really at left back, but I think we can hope for the best, but we really have to prepare for the worst. And I'm leaning more to preparing for the worst because it just feels like a really bad one, a really bad injury that some reason cannot recover. We just hope for that. He is, if he doesn't play until March or April and can come in, he still slots in. But you've got to look for alternatives. Right now, with the three center backs, Max Arfson is the guy that Mauricio Pochettino is entrusting with that and will likely be in the starting 11 if Antonee Robinson cannot go. Yeah, it's a big drop-off. Certainly on the defensive end, but we got to be realistic. John Tolkien made this roster. He's a left back. He's playing in Bundesliga 2. I like John a lot. I think he can bring a lot to the table. I think he can compete for that start, but he is really has a lot of ground to make up. If Antonee Robinson doesn't make the World Cup roster, John Tolkien probably gets into that roster as a result. Other options, Christopher Lund, who's we've not really been involved. Caleb Wiley is a really interesting prospect, young player playing at Watford in the EFL Championship, but a lot of ground to cover. So this is a big, big dilemma. And I think the U.S. has to prepare for the emergency plan. I hate to say it, but we've waited window after window and no Antonee Robinson. So now the opportunity for other guys to come in and make an impact here. Gio Reyna. We'll start with Gio Reyna. Joe Scally both called in after missing some call-ups in past months. Joe Scally is a regular player for a Mönchengladbach team that has struggled, but he has been an excellent campaigner. We could see him play at either fullback spot, so maybe you can be creative. I don't think Mauricio Pochettino is in that mindset. When you see what he's invested with Max Arfson, that you put Joe Scally, I just don't see it. If it makes sense to you guys, great. We can continue to push that. By the way, I also want to mention, I didn't mention him earlier because I see people putting him in the starting 11, is Noah Kai Banks. I've been watching Noah Kai Banks play at Augsburg. What a phenomenal talent. So exciting, young player to be starting at a young age for Bundesliga 1 side. He's not here. Stop putting him in starting 11s for the World Cup. He's not going to probably make this roster because you don't bring in a kid like that to learn the ropes, as we saw with Yunus Musa. It just doesn't happen. You don't bring these kids in and say, all right, you want to do this? It just doesn't. So he's not going to make the World Cup roster unless something bizarre happens. So stop putting him in starting 11s. Let him develop. He is going to be awesome for us in 2030. Awesome. I am confident to say that. He's excellent. He's multifaceted, great with his feet, brilliant, brilliant prospect player for the future. So don't put him in the starting 11 anymore. So back to Gio Reyna. You look, Mauricio Pochettino saying that this is a chance to get to know each other. He played some minutes. He hasn't played a lot for the national team, a smidgen over the last year. Was with the Nations League roster and then had this whole fallout. I don't want to think about Gio Reyna. He is here and he can benefit from this. And I think he's going to start one of these games because you don't have Christian Pulisic, you don't have Tim Weah, you don't have Malik Tillman. The other players that can kind of play that role, if there's those two number 10, so to speak, in past lineups for the U.S., are Brendan Aronson and Diego Luna. Luna's going to be one of them. I imagine you start those two, and then maybe Gio Reyna comes in and starts the second game. This is a great opportunity for Gio Reyna. The reality for Gio is those other guys are going to come back, so I don't think he eventually makes the roster. And Gio's got to work out so many other things on his club level and so forth. I'm glad Mauricio Pochettino didn't play hardball. I don't think he's in the plans here. This is a result of not having enough guys at that position. I don't know who else you could possibly bring at a level other than Gio Reyna here. So it is, again, by necessity. Take advantage of it. We know Gio can wow us, but I'm not going to waste too much breath on this because I'm not expecting it to see many legs unless things go bad. But then you have an emergency situation, a pretty good emergency situation, Gio Reyna. We'll see what happens with Joe Scally as he is able to make a push there. Pretty straightforward. I do want to talk about the forwards quickly because Ricardo Pepi is back, and that is the biggest breath of fresh air that we have had. And Ricardo Pepi scored. He hasn't started for PSV. I think he's going to become the feature guy here soon enough because he keeps scoring goals for them. He has a 1 goal every 80-minute average now that he's healthy. He scores for club, he scores for country. He could still start for the U.S. men's national team, in my opinion. Flo Balogun should be the guy, and he scored for Monaco, a game winner in Champions League. So good stuff on that front across the board. But I think there still should be a competition, and I'm just so happy for Ricardo Pepi because he brings so much. When we've had so many guys not coming in, I think Ricardo Pepi is going to be a rocket ship into this roster and lift, if there is, lift the spirits if they are down, which I don't think they are. This is the World Cup. It's all business. And that's exciting. Ricardo Pepi is what's good about all of us. And in a bigger picture, where we have the negative news I started off with, we have guys doing well in England. Brendan Aronson scored a goal against West Ham. That's my team. They're terrible. But he had an incredible game. He's starting on occasion with some regularity with a Premier League team. Tyler Adams scored a goal against Man City. I expect Tyler Adams to be in the back of the midfield. That defensive part of the midfield looks great. You have Tyler Adams, you have Tanner Tessman, you have Aiden Morris, you have Christian Roldan, who's having his best year as a professional. I've seen him most of the season, so I can tell you that. Johnny Cardoso is the only one that's not here, and he's not going to feature. It's too late for Johnny Cardoso, and he can't get into that 11 for Atletico Madrid. He can't get playing time. So that is set well, but some of these Americans playing very well. And Flo Balogun and Ricardo Pepi scoring goals in Champions League is no minor detail. Maybe both of them make the knockout stages as well. So I'm excited about what the number 9s. We're good at the attacking. We're good at the defensive midfield. We should be good in central defense, certainly when Chris Richards back. Fullback, obviously a big concern, and what's happening in the attacking midfield. But overall, feel positive. It's good. We have players and games November the 15th against Paraguay, November the 18th against Uruguay, 2 World Cup teams. Good stuff for the U.S. Let's go get them. We'll be back here to talk about the games when they occur. Soccer OG, like the video, subscribe to the channel.